So what is happening? Well, like was warned, the city is being sued. This is the package that I received from the Supreme Court and every other member of City Council, though some claim they didn't receive it. This is the packet from the Supreme Court of Ohio that says, do what you are supposed to do and put this on the ballot. It's called a writ of mandamus.
Okay.
It's a legal document that commands that you do something. Well, here, this is interesting. Timing is often everything. If you had been at the last regular council meeting, you would have heard me say, I got this in the mail. And you would have heard the mayor say, the law director didn't get that in the mail. How did the mayor know the law director hadn't got it in the mail if it hadn't come? It's kind of curious, isn't it? How did he know? And how come the law director didn't say, I didn't get that, but he jumped in and said that? Well, he said, I didn't get it, and then he eventually says, I didn't get it. So the last council meeting, last regular council meeting, was last week. So it was just over a week ago. Yet, here we are with somehow, even though he hadn't received the document and kind of pretended like he didn't know what I was talking about, he was nonetheless going to advise us on the lawsuit that same night, and had already contracted with another law firm to send a response.
But he didn't get it, though.
But he didn't get it. He didn't get it. Like Mr. Brownlee, you don't know what you're talking about. Yeah. So here it is. Here's we must have hired some lawyers. I didn't know anything about that. We hired some other lawyers to respond on our behalf. And they sent down this, how many pages is this? 6 pages. Here, let me sum up the first 1, 2, 3 pages. Let me sum them up for you. Nuh-uh. That's about all it said. It said, nuh-uh. All you said in your suit against us, all we have to say is, nuh-uh. No, you're all just wrong. And then they go through their defenses of their actions. Notice, the first one, I summed it up as, you're dumb. That's about what it meant, it came down to. You don't know what you're doing. You're completely incompetent. The second one, they were incorrect because they had actually done what they didn't know they had done, which if they had opened their packet, they would have realized that this organization had done the right legal procedures, but since they didn't open it, they refused it. They didn't know because they didn't get that document that was inside of it. So they claimed, oh, you didn't do this, you didn't do that, you didn't da-da. And I'm confident that before the month is out, the Supreme Court's simply going to say, guys, this is foolishness. It's clear, blatantly clear, through law, through precedent, and just through kind of common sense respect that you need to do this, and we're going to make you do it. So I am 99% certain that we will be voting on this in November.
Okay.
So money ties into this, but what else tied into it? Remember the question? The question that I had here. The question, this is another question that ties into it. What is good government? Do you feel like we're talking about good government right now? I don't feel like we're talking about good government right now. I feel like we're talking about tyranny. I feel like we're talking about an attitude that looks down on you, us, and says, you aren't competent enough for me to even ask you your opinion. That's what I feel like as a resident, and even as a member of council. It's a real problem. It's a real problem that we have. So what is happening? I think our city government is just out of control. It's out of control. And we need to start asking ourselves, what kind of government do we want? And then, how do we get that government. Sure, we think, okay, maybe I'd like this, maybe I'd like that, but how are we going to get that is the question. Because most of us aren't going anywhere. We've got a home, right? We're paying a mortgage, or we own it. We're not planning on selling it. Maybe we are and we can't. So we're not going anywhere. So the question is, what kind of government do we want, and how are we going to get it? Another thing, before we get to questions, I want you to pull out this document again here. I circled some things. The top row that's circled, it says 200,000 across the board there. Who knows what that is? This is one of those recovery plan items that's supposed to bring in extra revenue for our general fund, which pays for the general expenses of the city for the most part. Who knows what that line that says 200,000 all the way across? Can anyone interpret that for us?
Trash fees.
Trash fees? What do you mean?
That's the money that's collected from the residents for picking up their trash. That's what we pay, like $15 every month
That's supposed to be recycling.
This would likely amount, very closely amount to the amount of money we are paying for recycling.
Right.
Which, 4 months ago we got rid of.
Right.
The city council decided to get rid of it.
Okay.
What do they plan to do with that money? As expressed right here. What do they plan to do with your trash money? The money you paid for trash. In this case, you paid for recycling. What do they want to do with your money that you paid for recycling?
Recycle it for your pockets.
Well, that might be taking it a bit far. But they want to spend it on something else. They said, you know what, you guys are giving us this money for trash, but you know what? We are going to just take some of that money you're going to pay for recycling, and I know you paid for recycling, but I'm going to take it because of the situation we're in. Well, I'm just going to take it over here and I'm going to spend it over there. You know what you call that?
Robbing Peter to pay Paul.
Partly. You call that illegal. Illegal. There are state statutes that say if there's a difference between taxes and fees. Is the trash money a tax or a fee? It's a fee. It's a fee. If you charge a fee as a municipality, can you take, skim a little off the top of that? And you know what? Hey, I got a little extra here. I'm going to spend it on this over here. Can you do that? According to state statute, no. That is explicitly illegal. Yet nonetheless, once again, what do we plan to do? Is anyone catching on to a trend here?
Oh, yes.
Catching on to a trend? There's two things already tonight where I believe our city government is in breach of state law.
Yes.
And when people say you're in breach of state law, what do they say? Back it up, man. You don't know what you're talking about. Back it up. We're the legal department. We're the mayor. We're city council. We're whoever. We know what we're doing. If they knew what they were doing, why are we where we are? This is why we need to know where we are, why we got here, where we want to be, and how we're going to get there. These are all very important questions. And I feel like this is really heavy. I feel like this is really heavy tonight. I brought along my financial packet. This has most of the important financial documents from our city, has the budgets and appropriations and other documents that I've been collecting. So I'm ready to answer questions that you may have, because I want you to feel like you know what's happening. So I just want to open it up for questions. And at the beginning, I have a question of my own. How much money, just in your opinion, this is kind of off the cuff, don't feel like you've got to get it perfect. It's not a trick question either. I have a question. You see these sums of money here. What do you think is a fair wage or fair compensation? This would include both wages and benefits. What do you think would be a fair number here? What do you think? What would be a fair number for a good, hard-working individual? Hard-working individual who is just maybe even a really hard worker, cream of the crop kind of guy. How many think 50,000 total compensation? That's both salary and benefits. How many think 50,000? Raise your hand. Is that fair? Is that a good quality compensation?
You don't have
How about what's that?
You don't have it up there.
How about 60,000? Or just a good quality person, you know? Just maybe like you are at work, who's doing a job that maybe requires a bachelor's, but not more than that. Okay, 70? Raise your hand. Said we got 1 for 70, 2 for 73, 4. I feel like I'm bidding on something. So we've got 4 or 5. How about 80,000? Who thinks 80,000 is a good wage for someone who's a hard worker, got a bachelor's degree? We got one in the back. Got one in the back. Good morning. Yeah, sorry. So how about $90,000? Who thinks that's a good, satisfactory wage for someone? Okay. Just so you know, we're getting to about $30,000 a year, 40,000 or $30 an hour, $40 an hour already. Just so you know. Okay, how about 100,000? Who thinks 100,000? Come on, guys, are you serious? Who didn't raise their hand? Give me your number. Yes, ma'am.
You really don't know.
Tell me.
I think 125,000 is good for a good, hard-working person with a career. I didn't say a job, a career, and loves what he's doing. 125,000 should be. You can live off of it.
Yeah, well, I'd say. Shoot. I think I could live 3 times over on that.
Can I got dreams.
There's no wrong answer. Someone else who didn't raise their hand. What do you think the number would be? Come on, there was more people who didn't raise their hands than that. You, sir. What do you think? What would be your number? What do you think is the magic, kind of good number for a quality individual?
80, 90.
80, 90?
Yeah, me too.
Did you raise your hand, Karen?
No.
What do you think?
I guess I'd like to know what the position is because.
Oh man, you're gonna make it all complicated. We're trying to make it general.
Some occupations, some careers demand a little more, like, you know, it depends, like in healthcare.
Okay.
Depends.
Okay, we'll leave Karen for a moment. Anybody else? Yes, Stafford.
Bill Brown, in all fairness, when you talk about salary and benefits together, you know, those numbers, you gotta be clear. I'm not saying you're not clear, I'm saying when you look at those numbers, you gotta have an understanding. You gotta subtract, you know, healthcare is very expensive, so that's $50,000.
Yeah, so let's take, this would be about $15 an hour. This would be about $20 an hour. This would be about $25, $30 an hour, $40 an hour, $50 an hour.
Okay, so I'll say a gentleman with a BA or with a BA making $30 an hour is fair wage.
$30 an hour, so you're about 80.
I agree, yes.
About 80.
Yeah, yes.
Anyone else want to throw in their 2 cents? Anyone less than this? Just that, I mean, you can't be less, I'm fine, that's fine. The right answers. Okay, now, back to Karen's point. Let's bring this back down, let's narrow it down here for a second. How about for a secretary? For a good, hard-working secretary? Anyone raise your hand? Raise your hand, $50,000. 60? 60? 70, anyone? 70, back there in the back. Okay, 80? I'm assuming I'm not getting any more here. Okay, so we had a couple on 50. What do we think here? Come on, give me a consensus. 50? 50, yes, no? No, tell me no if you think no. No? 60? 70? Oh, where are you going, higher or lower? Debbie? Lower? You're thinking like 40? 45, something like that?
That's how much I was thinking.
Yeah, okay, so $50,000 would be roughly $15 an hour plus good benefits, really good benefits. That'd be $15 an hour roughly.
That's not even no good business.
So 60,000 would be $20 an hour plus a really good benefits plan. Okay? So who thinks we need to go higher than this for a secretary? Anyone? No. Okay. How about for somebody who works on the road? You know, just kind of a general, laborer who works with asphalt, digs ditches, replaces maybe a water line, runs a backhoe, something like that. What do you think? 50?
This is at 80,000.
80? Okay, yell out. Yes, go ahead and yell out. What do you think?
Different than 80,000.
80, you think 80,000? That's for the backhoe operator, maybe, that's not for the guy in the ditch. Okay, well, it would be about here and lower for the most part.
And lower.
Okay, and actually, the guys in the ditch probably wouldn't even register on here. Okay, let's switch it up a little bit. How about a policeman? Policeman. Let's start down here. 70,000, anyone?
About 75?
75, you think? Anyone for 80? 80, Debbie. In the back, we got Lil. 90? 90 for a police officer?
90.
Gone to the academy, you know. We got 90, any 100? Anybody for 100? $100,000 total compensation, which would be about $40 an hour. Okay, which is more dangerous in your just general opinion, police or fire?
Fire.
Fire? Fire? Anyone for police? Lil's for police, because she reads the police blotter from Maple Heights News, and she's very into it. She's in the back, she welcomed you as you came in. Lil helps us at Maple Heights News, she reads through the police blotter, so that's why she raised her hand. So, let's go with firefighters then. 80?
Yeah, about
80,
75. I
80,
say about 75.
75, kind of like the police, about the same. 90?
No.
90. Okay. Now, let's back up a second here. If you haven't been catching on, I've been listing off the service department, the fire department, the police department, secretaries, people who work in the city. Let's just say, as a general average, across the board with all of those departments, what do you think our average compensation, what do you think it should be? Remember, there's no right and wrong, just what, in your mind, is your first impression of what it should be across the board, total compensation. Remember, this is about $15 an hour. 80 is about, my brain's not working, 30, about 30,000, okay? Or $30 an hour, rather. What do you think here? Where should we be just in general with if we averaged all city employees, secretaries, guys in the ditch, firemen, building inspectors? Come on, throw out a number for me, someone. 80? Anyone else?
75.
75. We're hearing a lot of 75 from the back row.
Yeah,
75. Anyone else? Hey, anyone higher? Anyone higher? Any of our council reps want to throw out something? No one's going to guess. So we have 80, 75. Anyone higher than that? 90 on average? Okay. Coming soon, I will have for you an analysis of how much we compensate our employees and how many people we could hire at each level if we averaged everyone out. Say everyone made on average $70,000 total compensation, which would be $25 an hour. If that was the average, then we could hire, X number of employees. If this was what we averaged, then we could hire X number of employees as a city with the amount of money that we have. You see, this is how we need to be thinking about things. Not, oh, we don't want to cut anyone, or, oh, no, well, they're such nice people, let's give them what they want. We need to be thinking, we've only got so much money. We've got $10, $12 million to pay people, so we should figure out how many employees we need, and then start controlling our costs by saying, this is how much we can afford to pay. And I don't think that your numbers are too far off of a good idea. I think we could shoot for about 75, 80,000 on average, and that might be a good wage, because you have some lower and some higher. So I wanted to run through that just as a little exercise to get me going on my thoughts. So what are your questions? We're almost 8 o'clock. I've been talking for about 50 minutes. I hope it's been worthwhile, but go ahead, Debbie.
Okay, I just wonder how much it costs for the additional legal advice that our law director had to seek for the city.
You think they asked me or told me?
Question is this?
That would make sense, though. See, we're back to those other problems. So I don't know, and I'm sure it's not cheap. mean, what legal advice is cheap? I couldn't really tell you. I'm not up on the lawyer rates, legal rates. Any other questions about finances, about really anything at all? Yes, Lil, in the back.
How much are we using out on delinquent taxes?
Delinquent taxes, we are missing on average about 17% annually, but some of them get paid late. So as far as the actual number, I don't know. I'm going to take a shot in the dark on that from trying to do it from memory. That's one document I don't have in my, I do have it, it's at home in my drawer, but I don't have it with me. That's a good question though. It's a good question. But we are averaging about 17% of the taxes every year on property are not paid. That's the collection rate, about 83%. Yes, Debbie?
If the levy did pass, if the city levy did pass, would it be enough? Long term?
What would you need to have to answer that question?
Information.
What else would you need to have to answer that question? Statistics.
Yeah.
What else might you need to have after you got your information and your statistics? Would you need to have to answer that question?
What your expenses were.
Yeah? You'd need to have a plan. How can you answer that question? You know what I mean? Like, say someone offers me a job. Hey, you want to, for my business. Say someone wants a website done. and they say, hey, I want to pay you $1,500. Is that going to be enough? What kind of website do you want? You know, what's your plan? What do you need? How can you answer that question? I can't answer that question. No one really can answer that question for you in city government right now, because I don't think there's been an analysis done. It's just been, we need more money. This seems like a reasonable amount of money. This is how much we can get out of you. Why don't you pay it? It's only $6 a month or whatever it is. Just pay it. I can't answer that question. We would need to go back and do some analysis, like all those numbers there, and crunching them, and running out spreadsheets and things. I did some of that for like on the macro level in March, whenever we were figuring for the budget and the appropriations for the year. But I was the only one who did that. Did our finance director do that? No. What our finance director did was hand us what we were supposed to pass and say, take it. Take it or leave it. Eventually stopped answering questions. So can we answer that? I don't think we can. Will it be enough? Who knows? Where are we going? You know, I've got $500 for a plane ticket. Is that enough? Where are you flying? Where are you flying? If you're going to San Francisco, maybe. Are you going to New Zealand? Yes, sir.
Are there OCA plans?
Yes. Save our city. Oh, what do you mean? That's all it is. Save our city. That's all you need, right? Yeah, just a motto. Save our city. That's all you need is a motto. That's what the plan boils down to. And what you see in that document that I gave you. That's what it boils down to. I'm sorry, Stafford, I saw you raise your hand earlier. Did you have a question?
That may go back a few questions. I thought somebody asked something about legal fees.
Oh, yes. Did you want to comment on that?
Yeah, well, since that's my work, still work. I didn't know what the question was.
Oh, we were just curious about how much it might have cost for the city to outsource the legal representation for this lawsuit. Or maybe not the representation, but for writing response to our response in the suit.
Okay. You said that was a law firm that you?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I can tell you for sure that the average law firm is going to charge $200 or more an hour.
An hour. If they type fast.
Now, private attorneys is a little different. Usually they'll charge a flat rate.
Okay.
They get high.
Yeah. Well, thank you. Stafford does legal work. He's been doing it for quite a few years. He's also on the Planning and Zoning Commission in the city. Did I see a question? Yes, ma'am.
Did they go after RITA for the taxes that RITA owed?
Okay. RITA, we've heard the statement, RITA owes us money. That's a little bit of a misnomer. The idea that RITA owes us money, that isn't as true as it seems to be at face value. It's not like they collected money and then didn't pay us. It's like the county. The county doesn't owe us money, but they could maybe pump up their efforts to collect more of it. But that all comes at a cost, of course. So RITA owing us money, it's kind of along the same lines as the county. It's a collection rate. How much was the rate of collection? So they collect 80% of what is deemed to be owed. And that's the other thing. It's only an estimate of what is actually owed. Because you're never 100% sure what is actually owed, because someone may have moved. That happens quite often. Someone moves away, something changes, and it's not updated. So it's a little bit difficult. It's not as clear cut as they should have collected, or they collected $2 million last quarter, and they only paid us $1.7 million. It's not as clear cut as that. As many things maybe you're gathering or catching on aren't so clear cut as you might like them to be. I saw a question over here. Someone? No? Karen, yes.
Concerning the levies that are being proposed on homeowners only, how many levies, are we already paying for right now? Like, I'm sure that we've already had a fire levy and a police levy that we're still paying for. And can we still be reminded as to that we're still paying for those 5 new schools? So we're already paying for that, and that's going to go on for the next 23 years. That homeowners are going to pay for that. And I think they kind of forgotten that we're already paying all these levies just for owning something. And the other thing is I looked in plan, and it also says that there's going to be future levies during this 5-year period for, I guess, for something like police or fire.
Maple Heights.
Right, that's going to come up again. So
I haven't heard that yet.
well, I just thought that it was in there somehow.
Oh,
that we will have
I wouldn't
something
doubt
that's going to come up, or when these other ones expire.
The mayor had mentioned back in May that there was going to be more levies coming up, and one of them he had mentioned was an increase in the street lighting levy. How many levies do we pay right now? We pay 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 for the city, looks like. 7. And 2 more if these are passed in November, which that's your choice. We've already turned down 2. So we already pay a fair amount, of money as residents in Maple Heights. That total millage is also added up with the county's millage, with other taxing authorities. So there's a fair amount of our money that comes out. Now, the other levies, and the trash. The trash isn't a levy, it's actually a fee. So there's what, 8? There's 8 now. So there's a fair amount that's being paid. The city, like I mentioned, is projecting to have $19 million come in this year. That's a fair chunk of change, in my opinion. It seems like you might have some flexibility with the $19 million to try and make things work. But I predicted that we might actually bring in less. Might bring in less than that in this year and the year to come. So we'll find out. We'll see how things go. The city, we're in, remember there's 3 levels of fiscal distress. We're in the second one, which is fiscal watch. The third one, the highest one, is fiscal emergency. That is very likely, it's very likely that we'll go into that will meet the criteria for that, and there will be an added level of oversight established. It'll be a commission. If the state auditor's office says, you know what guys, you will not get better, you need even more oversight. They're going to establish a commission that will be made up of, I think it's 3 business owners in the city, made up of the mayor and also the representative from the council. So there's 5 people, and then there's 2 or 3 representatives from the state auditor's office. This 7 or 8 person commission will oversee all the financial decisions made in the city, and they'll have to approve them. So city council, from what I understand, will pass maybe a budget, appropriations, and then it'll go to this other commission, and they'll say, no, I don't know, or they'll say, yeah, that looks good. So it has to receive their approval. And also, if we don't keep to our financial recovery plan, the auditor's office has the authority to cut our expenditures in the following month to a certain level. I think it's 75% or 80%.